Well, hi everyone. My name is Rashid Sabar. Welcome to the Data Science for All Empowerment Grand Finale. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Correlation One. We are beyond thrilled to be spending Friday afternoon with you. And our show today is going to last from now until about 3 o'clock. We have so much in store for you. We have teaching assistant awards. We have commemorations from students. We have words from Professor Pillai. We have keynote talks. We have presentations from our 4 grand finale finalists, a distinguished panel of judges, a wonderful keynote. A lot of action packed in the next couple of hours, and we'll walk all of you through it as we move along. And I'm going to be emceeing the show for you today. That is my great pleasure. But to kick off the show, I would like to introduce my business partner, co-founder, co-CEO, Sham Mustafa, for his opening remarks. And Sham, I think you're on mute.
Yeah. Apologies. Thanks, Rashid. First off, huge congratulations to the DS4A grads. We could not be prouder of your effort, your tenacity, and your hunger to learn. Today, I want to talk about an asset that all of us have to some degree. It is as important as the hard skills you learn from the DS4A program, but it is often overlooked in career hierarchy. It appreciates over time and has the ability to create massive opportunities for you for decades to come. So what is this powerful asset? It's your network. Let me start with a couple of stories. 16 years ago, when I was a graduate student, I did an internship at Grameen Bank, the world's largest microfinance institution in Bangladesh. There, I met a junior intern named Asif. Asif was a Bangladeshi native and was studying computer science in the US. He was incredibly smart, driven, and thoughtful. We worked on a few projects together and formed an immediate connection. Post-internship, I returned to New York to finish my graduate school, and he returned to California to finish his undergraduate degree. After we graduated, I started working in the public sector in New York, and Asif ended up at Google. We stayed in touch and would exchange book recommendations, meet up periodically, and loved discussing global politics. Fast forward 11 years after I met Asif, when Rashid and I started Correlation One, Asif was one of our earliest investors. Today, he is the CEO of one of the largest e-commerce platforms in Bangladesh. In 2012, I was in business school where I met John. A graduate of West Point, John was, and still is, very loud and opinionated. A hard to miss kind of guy. I'm being honest when I say that my first views of John were not favorable, but as time went by, I started respecting his strong values and high integrity. At that time, he was working for a large commercial real estate firm in Manhattan. Not sure if you have dealt with New York real estate brokers before, but integrity isn't the first word that comes to mind. Post-graduation, John and I went our separate ways. 7 years later, our paths crossed again at a holiday party. John started his own real estate firm. Correlation One was his first client when we asked him to find our corporate headquarters. I wanted to share these two stories to demonstrate the power of networks and action. When I was getting to know Asif or John, I could not have known that Asif would eventually become an investor in a company that I would co-found 12 years later. John could not have known that we would become his first client when he started his company 7 years after we met. That is the power of the network. Your network will open up opportunities that you don't see today. The people in your class today could become your coworkers, your hiring managers, your business partners, and more. Developing and investing in high quality opportunity networks should be as important as developing your technical skills. Like anything else in life which is valuable, building a high quality network requires time and effort. An opportunity network goes beyond your LinkedIn connections or alumni meetups. You have to nurture it to watch it grow. The key question is, how can you develop your own opportunity network? First, take a look around you. Your nexus begins here. The foundation of a great network is built on people that inspire, challenge, and push you to excel. I have been where you all are today, and I know how it feels to embark on a new adventure. I'm going to share 4 tips that have been highly effective for me as I've grown and cultivated my network over the years. Number 1, do the first favor. Reciprocity is a powerful human emotion. Number 2, be an active listener. Most opportunities in life do not announce themselves and are not always obvious. Number 3, cultivate a broad, diverse network. Research shows that your second-degree network creates the most opportunities for you. Your first-degree network has to be broad for you to build a bigger second-degree network. Number 4, play the long game. It is totally okay to give more than you get. The worst possible way to build a network is to make the interactions transactional. Effective networks are based on giving and getting, in that order. Finally, I want to conclude by saying that we want to be a part of your network. Correlation One and the DS4A community want to be a part of your network. Your mentors want to be a part of your network. We're all rooting for you. Are you ready to make the first move? Thank you.
We need better representation in the data economy. We need data science teams that are composed of diverse and representative groups of people who have a seat at the table.
I want to help people who look like me bust into rooms that were not even made for us. I am sure that I will continue on this journey in diversity and inclusion, and I'm just so excited about continuing to be a leader in this space.
This opportunity has been great because it allows a space for people who look like me to learn. Doors aren't always open to everybody, and I just appreciate that this door was open for me.
I was also super empowered because I was with a cohort of people who looked like me, people who were in the same journey as me, and I felt supported throughout.
I have been in the science field for about 13 years. And one of the things that I've really observed is that the best data science solutions really happen when we bring a diverse perspective to the table in helping solve those problems.
So I became a mentor for Data Science for All Empowerment because the issue of inequity in data science and really in hiring and recruiting in general is something that I've been passionate about.
It was just really refreshing to be a part of a space where everyone was so excited and passionate to learn a new skill.
When you take a group of really bright people, you give them world-class instruction, exposure to mentors, and then you combine that with lots of enthusiasm to learn, the progress can truly be remarkable.
I loved seeing the passion that fueled all of my team's projects and just the innovative ways people approach solutions. Governments, businesses, or even just everyday people will benefit from all of the work that was done here, and that's just all very inspiring to me.
The different takes everybody had on the visualizations, the way that they would approach the analysis, not just one individual, but a group of individuals come together and bring all of their thoughts and perspectives into it. Ended up just with some really, really tremendous work.
I was just extremely impressed by the caliber of the fellows and the work ethic that they applied to, meeting with us and the deliverables and presenting and preparing for presentations.
One of the big takeaways for me was just the resiliency that the team showed throughout the process.
It was clear in working with them that they're good people, and this is the kind of folks that I want to work with. I want in our organization.
I can't overstate how proud I am of all the great work that the fellows did. Like, this wasn't easy. They continue to show up and to rise to the tasks, both individually and collectively. Going through the program, working together and completing it, you've developed a really, really strong and powerful community here, and that's something that everyone should be very, very proud of.
I hope that you will utilize this community of people around you. I hope that you will continue to be in touch with them and that you'll help each other grow professionally.
keep pushing. Whatever you're doing, just keep pushing, keep going, and stand confidently in what you do. Know your value, know your self-worth.
I want to say congratulations to all the program participants for making your way through the curriculum. It's a remarkable achievement, and I hope you approach it with renewed optimism and self-confidence because you've earned that.
We at Correlation One are on a mission to provide equal access to the jobs of tomorrow. Together with our employer partners, we're unlocking diverse human potential at scale and reimagining the education to jobs pathway as we do so.
Amazing. I love watching that cohort and review video every time. It just gives me goosebumps and inspiration for what all of you've done. Congratulations. And I now want to try to give all of you also a dose of inspiration from our one and only Professor Nitesh Pillai. Many of you on this call, obviously Professor Nitesh needs no introduction, but we also have mentors and others on the line who may never have met Nitesh. So I want to formally introduce him and then turn it over to him. Professor Pillai is a professor of statistics at Harvard University and the chief scientist of Correlation One. He is an interdisciplinary scientist working on problems lying at the interface of applied probability and statistics with a research focus on Markov chain Monte Carlo algorithms and problems in climate science. He obtained his bachelor's degree from the Indian Institute of Technology, Chennai in 2003, and his PhD from Duke University in 2008. He won the Young Scientist Award from the International Indian Statistical Association in 2018. He serves as an associate editor in leading scientific journals for statistics and data science. He is the director of the graduate program in statistics at Harvard University and is also part of the Harvard Data Science Initiative. So without further ado, Professor Nitesh Pillai, our lead instructor, over to you.
Thanks, Rashid. Dear fellows, did you miss me? It is great to address the class one last time. Firstly, congratulations. Graduation Day is a time to reflect and be proud of your achievements. You have so many things to be proud of. Our ultimate goal is to teach everyone who applies to our program. But since we have to limit the size of the class and a lot of people apply, it's a very competitive application process and admission is purely merit-based. Thus, by design, you're the best among your cohort of applicants. Next, our program is really challenging. We ask a lot of you. The extended cases, projects, and lectures, all in a short span of 13 weeks is intense. Furthermore, most of you were enrolled in a program while having a day job. Juggling family life, a full-time job, and a program is a tremendous feat. The next thing I want to congratulate you for is something for very important. Not many people invest in themselves by undergoing a rigorous form of education, that too in such a short amount of time. Think about it. It doesn't happen often. You have done it. As we say in India, education is the best kind of gift you can give in the sense that it's the only gift that does not rust. Now, learning must not stop with DS4A, right? Promise me, right now, promise me that you will devote at least half an hour a day towards continuing your education. You may ask, what do I learn next? My suggestion is simple. Follow your heart. Learning should be fun. It's the curiosity about these tools that got you started on this track, right? So this could be anything, a piece of code, a new algorithm, playing around with a new cool data set, or writing a blog post, anything. What is more important is that you continue to learn and practice every day and take advantage of the compounding effect of education. That's most important. I want to take this moment to thank a few people. First, I want to thank the co-founders of Correlation One, Rashid Sabbar and Shah Mustafa, for their incredible vision of data science for all. Their mission to unlock diverse human potential at scale inspires all of us at Correlation One every day. Next, I want to thank our sponsors for championing our cause and helping us build a future with equitable and inclusive education. Our program will always remain free for our fellows. Next, thank you to our spectacular team of TAs and other instructors. They've done tremendous work helping our fellows and making sure that the fellows see the light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you also to my amazing teammates at Correlation One. Even though I get to interact with the fellows live and enjoy the fun bits and play music, etc., there is a huge amount of work that goes behind the scenes that makes all this possible. They really are a dream team that I'm fortunate to get to work with every day. So thank you. Thank you to the mentors, especially who are watching, for truly embracing our mission and going above and beyond the call of duty to support our fellows. I'm sure this is only the beginning and we have so much more to accomplish together. Finally, but most importantly, my sincere thank you to all our fellows. I'm incredibly proud and thankful to all of you for your passion for learning, for your curiosity, for your perseverance, and for your empathy to help your classmates. Not once did you complain about the amount of work we gave you. Not once did you complain about the pace of our schedule. Instead, you brought out the best in each other. The time I spent with all of you was one of the most challenging and rewarding professional experiences I've had so far in my career. Yes, you've heard it right. It was challenging. You all brought such intensity of thought and diversity of opinions that I had not entertained before, even for the cases that I wrote. I truly felt that I was the one being educated. It reminded me of a quote of James Baldwin, which goes by, "The paradox of education is precisely this, that as one begins to become conscious, one begins to examine the society in which one is being educated. Continue to be relentless in challenging the norms. Remember that wherever you will have a seat at the table, because the perspectives you bring were shaped by the life experiences you've had and the adversities you've faced, and no one can take that away from you. Seeing all of you interact with each other and celebrate our common goal of inclusion and learning gives me tremendous hope about our world, even in these difficult times. Coming every weekend to talk to you guys is the best kind of job one can hope for. Anytime you're in Cambridge, you're welcome to my home. You know there will be ice cream. I will miss you all, and this has been a dream. Thank you.
Professor Pillai, thank you. That was amazing. You inspire the students like no one else can. And we do know, though, that it takes a village. And we want to give our heartfelt thanks to the 20 teaching assistants who every week have gone above and beyond. And really, we've been so gratifying to see the connections they've built with the students, the deep connection they have to the program and to our mission. And it really is the lifeblood of our program, the teaching assistants. And so we want to take just a couple of minutes to walk through a collection of slides with pictures of all the teaching assistants. We're just going to call their name. Just recognize the memories. And 1 second here. Just pull this up. Okay, so first we have Daniel and Sarah. Next we have David and Bethany. Kimberly and Peyton. Matthew and Natalia. Spencer and Lai. Joseph and Srijaya. Cooper and Savannah, Mansi and Chris, Jamie and Manjuri, Daniel and Kelsey. Now, even though we have all the TAs who went above and beyond, we asked the students actually to rank their favorite TAs, to just tell us which ones they developed the deepest relationship with. And they all, every TA clustered at the very, very top. But there was one that stood out a little bit above, that went above and beyond. And that top TA award goes to Chris Earl. Chris, thank you so much for all of your work, for being an exemplary TA. Chris demonstrated excellence in his teaching approach and dedication to the learning and growth of his fellows. Throughout DS4A empowerment, Chris gave amazing support and advice on both an individual level and also to the project teams in his group of fellows. Chris also contributed to the program by teaching lectures on data transformation and data visualization. So we have a nice video of Chris accepting his award that we want to play now.
Thank you so much for the Top TA Award. This is a huge honor, and it's been a huge honor to be a part of this first cohort. As I've said to many of you, you're pioneers helping C1 best figure out how to provide the best program possible, and it's a privilege for me to be part of that. And also thanks for helping me crowdsource one of the best playlists possibly ever made. Thanks so much to my fellow TAs, co-TA Shri especially, and to the staff at C1 for helping make the program run so smoothly. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for sharing all sorts of great ideas to help make this program even better. So yeah, thanks everyone again. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
So we've heard from the professor, we've heard from teaching assistants. We'd now love to hear from students. We had a number of you, when you spoke at the local finale, really moved us. And we could only pick one student to speak today. And we wanted everyone to hear from Athena. Athena Awirdu. Those of you who got to know her in the class, that she's initially shy, but has this real quiet intensity, this quiet passion, this quiet power. And we thought that her experience and just her, her demeanor is so much of what we want to bring out in DS4A. So we wanted to show you the testimonial that she shared with us earlier.
Hi, my name is Athena Awirdu, and today I will be sharing with you my DS4A experience. So choosing to apply to and join this program was actually a leap of faith. For me, as a recent college graduate and a life sciences major, I was pretty much comfortable with doing the things that were familiar to me. But throughout college, I actually noticed that I gravitated a lot towards quantitative thinking, which involved working with data sets and working with numbers. However, with the onset of the pandemic, that notion of sticking to the familiar sort of was flipped upside down. And I found myself questioning where I stood with my interests and my own career purpose. Nonetheless, after finding our program, family and mentor encouragement was what helped me take a leap. I'll say overall, one impactful aspect of this program was actually our community. Now, being in a new community, it's easy to feel intimidated, but one thing I remember from the first day of our program was that Professor Natesh told us that we were not each other's competition. I think that's something that I and our cohort embraced from the start. So from the beginning to the end of it, we all became each other's study buddies, network connectors, and our greatest supporters. Through that, I actually feel affirmed that this program is not only the start of a transformative but influential community in data and domain knowledge. With that, I would also say that I grew to value the process of struggling with learning something new. So for these 13 weeks, it was literally like learning a new language. And I myself came into this with zero knowledge in Python. Every day was a choice for me to learn how to immerse myself in something that was unfamiliar. And DS4A gave us those tools and support systems that we needed to navigate this new terrain. So I believe the skills that we built from problem solving will be our greatest guides in our next ventures that we go into, especially as we apply our knowledge in the real world and learn how to be forces that reduce bias in the analysis of data. Lastly, one thing that stuck out to me was a keynote speech that was given by Sina Iyengar, which actually confirmed the importance of dreaming. So sticking with what was familiar actually had a way of limiting my ability to dream for a while. However, dreams, which come to us in an abundance of supply, have the power to change problems that we've once may have felt was unreachable or even obstacles in our path. DS4A, for me, has inspired me to use my skills to leverage what the quantitative world looks like when connected to the qualitative world. And this might involve understanding the people around me, cultures, and data, as well as how that all connects with seeing each other with our diverse perspectives, but on the same accord. So one question C left us with that I want to reiterate is, what is a problem you dream of solving? And better yet, how can your newfound skills and this community of scholars and mentors help you in solving that problem? Thank you once more to Correlation One for this honor of being selected as an Empowerment Fellow and Distinguished Scholar.
Thank you, Athena, for that wonderful and inspiring speech. We're incredibly proud to have you as a part of our DS4A community. Moving on, I'm personally very excited for this section of the graduation ceremony. To commemorate your hard work and accomplishments over the past 5 months, we commissioned Kelly Kuzo from your cohort to create a class gift that captures the essence of the program. It's bright, it's powerful, full of emotion, and celebrates diversity as the subjects forge into the future together. Thank you, Kelsey, for an absolutely outstanding piece of art that you created for this class. I'm very proud to introduce the artist, Kelsey, in the next video to share her incredible journey, both in the classroom and on the canvas. For those of you who have had the pleasure to get to know Kelsey Kuzo, you know that art is more than just a hobby for her. It's a creative journey, one that led her to Correlation One's Data Science for All Empowerment program. Please enjoy this video.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Kuzo. I'm a data visualization developer, and during my free time, I make art with machine learning models. When I was a child, I used to take painting lessons. I've always been really drawn towards the visual arts, and when it was time to decide on a major in college, I went to art school, majored in media arts and animation, and did 4 years of traditional training. Once I was done with that, I worked as a professional artist for 6 years. So I had already been learning about data analytics and data science for about 2 years when I got sick. I have a neurological condition that causes severe enough hand tremors that I can't draw and paint anymore. During that time, I had found a way to compensate for everything else, right? I started walking with a cane. I started using assistance to see with special glasses and vision therapy, everything else I could compensate for. But that creative outlet was still really missing for me. So I had already been working for about 3 years within the analytics sphere when I found out about the DS4A empowerment program. And because my background was so non-traditional, I didn't have a lot of the formal learning when it came to things like statistical methods. And I was really looking for a way to round that out in a way that was thorough and formal and would help round out my skill set. Being around other people that are A, from a diverse background like mine, and B, just so smart and so hungry for knowledge has been in itself, I think, the best part of the program for me. I'm so inspired by all of the other fellows and by everybody's individual journey. It's really made me want to keep going with my own. So I really describe them as AI-assisted art instead of AI art because in many ways it's like doing a collaborative piece with another artist. The model functions by being given a set of input images that represent the style that I'm trying to create. And then I'll have a subject image and I'll have it recreate the subject image with the style of the trained inputs. The set of images that I did for the class were really fun because I wanted to capture the feeling of each week of the class. I felt like it was such a intellectual but also emotional experience for so many of the students. And so I really sought to capture that almost as telling the story of what each class felt like. I was very excited about the opportunity to create a commission for the end of the class. Being able to do one final piece to kind of capture the feeling of what it would be like when we finished was really exciting. So I had a few different concepts that I wanted to work from. The one that I finally landed on, I felt like was universal in the way that it inspired the feeling of what it was like to be finished, but be finished together and have accomplished this great thing as this hugely diverse group of people. I wanted to really go with something that was a little bit abstract, but also very bright, vibrant, captured the energy of everything and the happiness that was completing this huge endeavor that we all set out on. The idea that I could be successful in a program that was this challenging and that I could have people that are representatives from these top universities really believe in me made me change my perspective on what I'm capable of when it comes to education. I would do it again if I could in a heartbeat, and I plan to try to continue to be involved with the program in whatever way I can. It's literally life-changing. It's the best thing I could have spent my time on, and I'm so glad that I did it.
Kelsey, we're so privileged to have had you in our class and to have you as part of our alumni community. We are now going to move on to the next segment of our grand finale, and that's the presentation section. And I'll keep it a little bit short because we're running a little bit behind. But we have an amazing panel of judges today that I'm going to formally introduce in a minute. First, I want to explain to everyone how this section is going to work. So we have over 100 teams that all work throughout our 4-month program to do their final projects. And we picked 4, through a rigorous judging process to get to these 4 finalists. And now the 4 finalists are going to present live, and each of their presentations will last about 5 minutes. And then we'll have 4 minutes of Q&A led by the judges. And ultimately, we're going to announce first, second, and third place. And it's as simple as that. We're also excited to watch all the presentations. And I want to formally introduce each of our 4 wonderful judges, and hi to all the judges there. We will begin the formal introductions with Faye Usatalunu, if I'm mispronouncing your last name. But Faye is the Chief Strategy Officer at Match Group, where she oversees new business growth. Prior to this, Faye was the Vice President of Strategy and Business Development at SoundCloud. Before that, she worked at Viacom Media Networks, Time Warner, Credit Suisse, and Merrill Lynch. Her community work includes expansion advising for Girls Right Now, a New York City-based nonprofit for at-risk young women. Welcome, Faye. And next, we have Frank Calderoni. Frank Calderoni is the CEO of Anaplan and the chairman of its board of directors. Previously, he served in leadership roles at Red Hat, Cisco Systems, and IBM, and he currently sits on the board of Adobe. His many honors include CFO of the Year, which he's won multiple times by Institutional Investor magazine. Welcome, Frank. And next we have Frank Cooper. Frank Cooper III is the Senior Managing Director and Global Chief Marketing Officer, or CMO, of BlackRock. Frank previously served as a CMO and Chief Creative Officer at BuzzFeed, and before that, in leadership positions at PepsiCo, Motown, and even Def Jam Records. Among his many awards, he was named one of the 100 most creative people in business by Fast Company magazine. Welcome, Frank. And last but not least, we have Johnny Taylor. Johnny C. Taylor Jr. is the president and CEO of the Society for Human Resource Management, also known as SHRM. His former affiliations include IAC and Viacom's Paramount Pictures, and most recently his work as the president and CEO of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. He serves on multiple boards, including for the University of Miami, the American Red Cross, and the White House's Advisory Board for Historically Black Colleges and Universities, among many others. So welcome all judges, welcome teams that are presenting. One more second on the rules of the road here. We have judges, all of you have your scoring sheets, so if you could hop into that and kind of follow along with each presentation so you can score in real time while everything is fresh. The other thing I'll mention is that after the 5-minute presentation for each, so I'll intro each team, they'll do 5-minute presentation, and then the Q&A will be moderated by you. So I won't be there calling anyone. The 4 of you will just figure out who should ask the question. You can ask questions about anything. They can be non-technical. Why did you do that project? What's the impact? They could be technical. It's completely up to you. Everything is fair game. And so with that, I will kick it off to team number 17. So team 17, for your project titled Adding Socioeconomic Dimensionality to Flood Risk Predictive Modeling in Louisiana, the floor is yours.
Sorry, one of our team members is missing. If you would just give us a moment, and he's going to be connecting in just a second.
I apologize, can you see me?
No, but you can just continue to start.
Okay. After making landfall in Florida in the summer of 2005, Hurricane Katrina regained strength in the unusually warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Its name would forever be emblazoned in the American lexicon, but Katrina isn't known for its wind speed. Its most lethal aspect was its storm surge, infamously revealing engineering flaws in the levee system in the city of New Orleans, leaving over 80% of the majority black city flooded for weeks. Of the 20 costliest hurricanes ever to form in the Atlantic, 17 have occurred in the last 20 years. Since 1980, tropical storms have accounted for nearly $950 billion in damages, and due to climate change, the intensity of destructive cyclones continues to increase. Our project is When the Levees Broke, adding socioeconomic dimensionality to flood risk predictive modeling. The goal of our team, consisting of myself, Kristen, Satya, and Marie Claire, was to create a tool that can help support the management and design of coastal infrastructure to minimize damage caused by tropical storms in Louisiana. By combining socioeconomic and demographic data with traditional geographic flood risk factors, we were able to predict the level of impact each area received during Katrina, as well as identify areas with disproportionately poor infrastructure. Marie-Claire will explain.
Our first step in developing our model was determining where we were getting our socioeconomic data, as this was our main contribution to the growing field of geographical risk flood modeling prediction. So we decided to use census income, poverty, and demographic data. For geographical flood risk data independent of socioeconomic factors, we used the National Flood Hazard Layer. And for the target variable we wanted to predict, we used NFIP data, consisting of the number of people who reported flood-related damages in a 3-week window during Hurricane Katrina. We merged and cleaned the dataset, preserving data for 471 out of the 474 zip code in Louisiana. We then went through rigorous feature selection, where we decided which aspects of our large dataset were the most useful for our analysis. Next, we did feature engineering to prepare for modeling, where instead of needing to predict the raw number of people reporting damages per zip code, we binned that quantity into 5 categories and labeled each zip code as low risk, low moderate risk, all the way up to high risk. Lastly, we built and tested our models, trying both simple and complex ones until landing on 2 highly accurate yet different models. Here are the performances of a variety of models. We see that the simpler linear models outperform slightly more complex ones, but all of them have at most 77% accuracy. Although this is pretty good already, we wanted to push for even more accurate modeling. Our first model was based on extreme gradient boosting with an accuracy of 87%. The map on the left shows the accuracy of the model, with green zones being correctly guessed, blue zones slightly less correct, and gray zones the least correct. The most important features identified by XGBoost included density, total population, and bachelor's rate. The last model we chose was an artificial neural network-based model. The key differences between the two can be seen on the map. There's far less gray and more blue, indicating that although the ANN wasn't as accurate as the XGBoost model, it was less wrong when it made mistakes. Evidence for this is how the lower Ninth Ward, an area widely known for being completely devastated by Hurricane Katrina, was correctly predicted in this model, but wrongly predicted in the XGBoost model. In contrast to the XGBoost model, the features most important to the ANN included the number of housing units, total population, density, percent Black, bachelor's rate, and geographical risk. A higher attention to socioeconomic details, such as the percentage of each zip code that identifies as Black, implies that focusing on these factors allows for recognizing systemic biases against certain demographics that could cause flood protection infrastructure underfunding. The dashboard we created features 2 of our most successful models, ANN and XGBoost. The map displays the accuracy scores for each zip code of Louisiana, with green being perfect accuracy to red being the least accurate. You're able to interact with the map to see the specific risk score associated with each zip code, filter for specific accuracy score, and see the differences between the 2 models. And now I'll hand it back to Will for our conclusion.
We hope that our findings can possibly have a significant impact on the future infrastructure and policy considerations of the state of Louisiana. Policies that center the health and safety of frontline communities and communities of color, leading to more effective and equitable climate mitigation efforts. Suggesting for the future, we would like to have done analysis of all the Gulf Coast states, with data from a larger set of tropical storms of varying intensities. We also believe there's great benefit to be found from more in-depth feature analysis, as well as more modeling. We believe doing more research to discover insights regarding risk at the intersections of race, gender, income, and education status would be hugely beneficial to state and local governments throughout the Southeast and beyond to generate better risk assessments, build better infrastructure, and optimize disaster response as we work to tackle the climate crisis. Thank you.
We are the other 2 team members of Team 17. We'd love to take any questions that you have. Kristen, can you hear the question? I'm not sure I hear anything.
No, Faye, I think you might be on mute. I'm not able to hear.
Likewise.
Are you guys able to hear each other and not us? Or vice versa? Because we can't hear, we can't hear what you guys are saying.
I think I just checked the live stream, and I don't think I can hear it through there either.
Hi, everyone. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We're just going to take a 5-minute pause while we figure out how to connect the audio from the judges' room to the audio to the panelists. So give us 5 minutes, and we want to make sure that you can see all the rich interactions. Thank you. All right, everyone. I think and I hope we're back. This is like if this were a live event, this is one of those moments where the mic has run out of batteries, the speaker blew out or something like that. So we had a virtual analog of that. So let's try this again. Judges, let's see if you have audio and you can start to pose your questions. Apologies to everyone here.
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, lovely. Okay, great. Well, great work, Team 17. My question was, you showed us the approach and the data that was available, and at the end you talked a little bit about building on this model. What are some other features that you wish you could have tested or rolled into this that also might add to the predictability that you weren't able to based on the data available?
Thank you. That's an excellent question. So we wanted to address that in two ways. So the first way is to try and incorporate more information that we just sort of assumed was not relevant. So for example, we assumed that the geographical risk data, according to the source that was giving it to us, was having or accounting for some notion of infrastructure. So those scores that were that we then processed and then converted into a factor that we could use, it was said that they had geographical risk data, but also accounted for some sort of flood infrastructure. But we're not exactly sure how much was weighted towards the total score that we were using. So one interesting way that we were thinking about counteracting this is to try and go through historical data sets of what each zip code or the funding for that, what it looked like, and seeing if we could maybe incorporate some measure of how much money was invested in infrastructure, specifically flood risk infrastructure, but we would assume that that was proportional to overall spending in these areas. So that would be one way. Another way is that we think that we could try and mimic the behavior of other variables that we don't have access to through nonlinear transformations of the variables we do have access to. So we would love to try and look into that and do more statistical analysis and see if we can even improve our linear models by using nonlinear transformations, and then maybe pull that all the way through our feature extraction processes and see if the ML models and XGBoost could work well on that. Did that answer your question?
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job on your analysis. You mentioned that you would like to extend your analysis to some of the other Gulf states. Any initial thoughts on what you may find either similar or dissimilar from your current analysis?
That's a very good question. So one main point that we believe would show up is that all of Louisiana is pretty at risk geographically because it's so close to the Gulf. And we were wondering if we incorporated, for example, Hurricane Harvey in Texas, then more of the inland areas of Texas that would have a lower geographical risk might still sustain large damages. So we would get a larger variance of dependence on the geographical risk factors. Whereas basically, and you can see this for the XGBoost model, in the top most important features, the idea was that there was almost no dependence on geographical risk. So we would maybe see an increased dependence on that and variability if we were to include different areas and different storms. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Hey, Team 17, great job. Really enjoyed the presentation and appreciate your highlighting the connection between climate action and social justice, because they're often viewed in silos. My question for you is this: there's often a knowledge behavior gap, and I'm curious how you guys would like to see the model used by policymakers and government officials. So they have this knowledge. What would you want to see them do with it?
Kristen, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can take it. In thinking about this and thinking about the policy side of things, like Satya mentioned earlier, we were thinking about investment in infrastructure, investment in the communities and what they need for these different natural disasters. We're thinking about preparation. And so if you see on our dashboard, we have like the comparisons of the different risk factors, you see the different locations that have a higher risk factor. If you see that location and you see that here, this is a place that's very at risk, allocate certain needs and certain things for that county or allocate resources for different counties. So it's really the preparation and the allocation of resources that would probably, this would benefit the policies the most.
Great, thank you.
Okay, well, excellent job, team number 17. Thank you so much to the judges for your thoughtful questions. I would like to introduce our next team, team number 38, for your project titled How to Reach Financial Independence and Retire.
Hey, Julie, how are you?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, cool.
All right, perfect. I am doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Look, I'm so glad that we were able to sit down and talk today. Look, I know that you're a very busy person, and look, I just realized I'm pretty much living paycheck to paycheck. I am completely broke. There's financial information all over the place. It's so accessible, but it's not accessible. And I know that you're like coming up with this new tool. So I'm just glad to have a couple moments of your time to go through everything today.
Yes. So as mentioned, I am a little busy right now, but can I put you on a brief hold? And while you're on hold, can you actually spend some time in the tool and we'll get back in a second?
Cool.
All right. So when you heard Fred's story, maybe you thought about yourself. Maybe you thought about someone you know. But either way, Fred's not alone. Fred actually joins about 78% of Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck. And when our team got together in October, we wanted to help people like Fred, because to be honest, a lot of us feel like Fred. So with that said, we set out on a mission to do two things. One, limit the silos in financial advising and retirement planning resources that are available online to better integrate them for a full experience. And two, to provide actual practical advice to people who are looking to figure out how they can reach financial independence that wouldn't say require them to eliminate their entire Starbucks budget or get rid of their Netflix subscription. So let me actually walk you through a bit of how we did that. First, at the base of our analysis is the FIRE methodology. For those who are not familiar with FIRE, it is a popular movement and an acronym for Financially Independent, Retire Early. And what it does is it encourages people to save and invest more in their 20s and 30s so that they can retire in their 40s and 50s, or ultimately just on their own terms. In addition to the FIRE methodology, we leverage Refinery 29's money diaries. And with this, we were able to web scrape about 1300 money diary entries from the Refinery 29 website. What's the purpose of this, you may ask? To be able to provide practical and real budgeting advice to people from everyday people like you and myself. Additionally, we garnered two additional data sources, one being the Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Expenditure Survey, which captures data on user spending in the United States across spending categories. And we aggregated this data by age group and also by income range to see what additional relationships and insights existed there. And then lastly, housing is one of the largest costs everyone will incur. Whether you're a home buyer or you're renting, it's probably going to be the largest portion of your budget. So we wanted to bring in some housing data on the average housing price across the United States. So for people who are considering moving, let's say for a career opportunity, or even as an option to save more money, have insight into what those prices look like across the United States. That said, though, let's see if we can help Fred with our tool today. Fred, you still there?
Yeah. Hey, how are you? Look, so I already got while you were, doing whatever you're doing, I started to go through the tool. And I am completely amazed by what I see here. I started to look through some of the resources on the approach page, and I am just blown away between the money diaries, between just all the information that's there. I'm just so amazed by what I'm able to see.
Well, I'm glad that you found these resources helpful and want you to remind you that you can always go back to this page to get further information on any of the tenets of our overarching approach. Now, Fred, I also asked you to input some information in the calculator about your current financial situation. So let's dig into that a bit more and understand your financial projections.
Cool.
All right.
Yes,
So
all my
here-
information's there, so we're looking
Sorry.
good.
It's good?
Yeah.
All right. So here you will see Fred's information. Fred also has the opportunity to press click here and include his data in our Money Diaries data set. Now, Fred, I'll walk you through your projections at a high level, but want you to spend some more time on this page on your own. So first, you'll see where you can expect to hit the 3 levels of fire, at what age, and what amount of money you will have. And what I think is really the best take of this is the money diary section. So what you can do here is actually look at money diaries that are mapped to your monthly income to see how people who make about as much as you're making are spending their money. That aside, if housing is more important and a little less flexible and you can't change your housing costs, no problem. Click the button below the money diaries and it will repopulate it with a customized list of money diaries that are aligned to people who spend about as much as you do in housing. That said, there are also some custom recommendations on this page that show you how your debt compares and also how you can save more to achieve your fire age sooner. Now, I know I've shared a lot of information here. I do want to walk you through our insights page really briefly, and I think that'll complete the whole package for you. So here on the insights page, you'll see information that we've garnered, as mentioned, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics data, as well as the Zillow Housing Value Index. So you'll be able to see, one, how other people are spending their money over time, but also how your expenses may change over time, so you can better align your budget to prepare for those things. You can also utilize this interactive map to see what the housing prices look like across the United States. So if you are considering a move to save more money, you do have that option. Now, lastly, I know that's a lot of information and it's definitely a lot of questions. Feel free to reach out to myself or my amazing teammates, Stacy, Montserrat, Natalia, and one that may look a little familiar to you, AKA yourself, if you have any questions or concerns, and we'd be happy to help you on your journey as you aspire to fire.
Great, thank you so much, because I'm ready to join where the money resides.
Sounds good, thank you.
Well done, Team 38. Congratulations. Fantastic job. Topic near and dear to my heart as I'm in financial services and investment management. And retirement is central to everything that we do. And also congratulations on a creative presentation. I wasn't sure what was happening at first, but I caught on quickly to the role playing, which I thought was really effective. My question for you though is this. Oftentimes people have the knowledge and the information about what they should do around saving and investing, but they still don't change their behavior. And I'm wondering what part of this platform that you feel is the most critical part to spur a change in action. Is it incremental? Is it a certain first step? Is it sequential? How do you get them from knowing to doing?
Yeah. So I think that's an amazing question. So thank you, Frank. What I will say is I think with your typical retirement calculators and resources that you will see online, there is that gap of, okay, well, what do I do now? And that is one of the primary reasons why we opted to incorporate the money diaries, because whether or not you're going to make the change, that is personal to you, but you can at least see people who have, either similar housing costs or similar monthly income as you do and determine how you can make those changes. I want to make it more practical and real for people. So I think having that additional touch of being able to see people like you, essentially, who are spending or making about as much as you are, and being able to make adjustments there will help people as they figure out how they want to fire. So I think that's ultimately one of the ideas that we help to push out.
Okay, Johnny, quick question for you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
And it has to do with the issue of the generation, which is around student loans. Have you incorporated any sort of, or envision being able to incorporate trade-offs that have to be made? I mean, the answer might be don't buy a house. It might be X. I mean, how does this tool help students make those sorts of trade-offs and assessments?
Yeah. Fred, do you want to take that?
Yeah. So I'll say, I guess on a very high level, we didn't necessarily account for, the different trade-offs. Mostly what the tool was designed to do was to give people the information to decide, if I'm looking to reach different retirement levels. So looking at the lean fire, fat fire, or any of the fire levels, looking at those amounts, what could they possibly do? But it wasn't specific to student loans or debt. Debt was a part of one of the insights that was given, but that wasn't something that was, I guess, the overall focus of the tool.
Yeah, and just to add to that briefly, that is something that is accounted for in the user inputs to that calculator. So it is represented there. And I could imagine with a next iteration or a future iteration of this tool, allowing users to enter more information surrounding their debt. So even the interest rates around their loans, so that they can better predict how they want to make some of those trade-offs.
Jessica or Team 38, congratulations. Love the tool. And as coming from a planning company, anything that helps individuals plan better is always a definite advantage. But I wanted to quickly ask you a question. Jessica, my daughter's name is Jessica, so I love your name. As you think about this as a business proposal, you mentioned at the end you have a team, yourself, and I think you had 4 or 5 others. And I wanted to build on Frank's question earlier. It's great to have the model and the tool, but it sounds like there needs to be some coaching and also some ongoing dialogue. Have you thought about that and how you would continue to be able, as a business proposal, provide that additional counseling and advisement in addition to the tool?
Yeah, so as a quick update, my name is actually Jaleisha, not Jessica, but Jessica is also a great name. No worries. Yeah,
sorry about that.
No worries. But I will say, as far as we have thought through the coaching aspect, and that's something that was not incorporated in this iteration as much because we were looking to see, can we do an end-to-end proof of concept that works, that's live, that users can input this information. In the future, though, I absolutely think that would be an add-on that would be needed because, to your point, and as well as to Frank's, you do have to push the behavior. It's not just knowing what to do and even knowing how to do it. You have to have some guidance around there. So I think that could be a great add-on, even if it is just a virtual chat financial advisor to help them with that information.
Yeah, and if I can add on one thing really quickly, I guess some of that information sort of is there based off the money diaries. So the money diaries is, real stories from real people about how they spend their money. So it may not, so it's highlighting what people currently are doing. But just like Jaleisha said, I think that's something that we can definitely incorporate into the next edition.
Well, excellent. Such great work, Team 38, and such excellent questions, thought-provoking judges. We will now go to the next team, Team 86, for a project entitled How to Help Restaurants Survive COVID-19. Over to Team 86.
Can you guys hear me? Daniela? All right. Hello, my name is Pablo Cruz, and I'm joined by Troy Lawrence, Alejandro Mantilla, and Daniela Esparza. Together, we are someone's, yeah, let me start again. Hello, my name is Pablo Cruz, and I'm joined by Troy Lawrence, Alejandro Mancillas, and Daniela Esparza. Together, we are Team 86. And our project is about how to help restaurants survive COVID-19. In 2020, Congress passed a $25 billion COVID-19 bailout for the airline industry, but none for the restaurant industry, which is 4 times bigger in terms of sales and 18 times bigger in number of jobs it creates. We intend to provide actionable insights